So the figure 8 knot is you'll cross over the rope, cross under the rope to make an 8, and then back through that first hole you made. And that is our preferred stopper knot here on Moondrifter. That's the figure 8 knot. Again, loop over your rope, under your rope, and back through. I did that one opposite of the way I did before. It really doesn't matter how you do it, it's just the process of doing it. And then you end up with a nice strong stopper knot that won't get pulled through a block. The sheet bend knot, and this is good if you have two lines that you need to tie together. So say you have one line, you'll make a loop in that. You have another line, which is just the end of this line. You're going to want to go up through that loop, around and under, and instead of going through this loop like a reef knot, you actually want to go through the loop you just made here, and that's the sheet bend. So again, for the sheet bend, you're going to make the loop in one rope, take your other one, go up through that hole, around and through the loop you just made, and that's a sheet bend. Double sheet bend is the same thing, but instead of doing once, you're going to wrap twice. So you go up, around, through, and then around and through again. And that's a double sheet bend. So with a bowline, this is how I tie it. There's millions of ways to tie a bowline. This is how I tie it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make your loop. You're gonna go under, over, around, and in through this hole. Pull tight. And that's the bowline knot. The bowline knot is very popular, however, it's not my favorite knot to use when we need a situation, a loop in the end of a rope. It's just a little, it's not very symmetrical, it's a little ugly. This line kind of gets in the way sometimes. So what we prefer to use on Moondrifter is the angler knot. An angler knot is fairly simple. You just need to get this first step correct. So the first step is just an overhand knot, however it's a directional overhand. So you want to make a loop in your line, you want to take the end and go underneath. You have to make sure that goes underneath and then back through that hole. So you just have a regular overhand knot. Next you want to do, take that end, you want to go up through the hole, underneath the end here, and then with the loop you made here, you're going to go through those two lines, kind of like in the sheet bend, and pull tight. And that's, to me, is a stronger, more symmetrical alternative to the bowline line. So again, for the angler knot, you'll make a loop, you'll go under, back through that hole you made, have the regular overhand knot, then you'll take your end, come up through, down underneath, and then with the loop you just made, you have these two, you'll just want to come through underneath that line, and then you can pull tight. And this is the knot we use when we have to put a loop at the end of a line or sheet. Another knot that we use for our soft shackles is the diamond knot, but this is really two knots in one. You're gonna make your hands like that, put each line between those fingers, and give yourself, for this diameter line, maybe a couple feet. So what you're gonna do first is you're gonna take the right hand side for me, for you guys on the camera it's gonna be the left hand side. You're gonna take it and make a loop and twist it over itself. And you have to make sure that this runs over this line here, and then that loop is going to lay over top of this second line. The next step is you're going to take that other line and you're going to come around underneath the tail end of this one, through this loop and under itself, under that line, and then back through. And that right there is the carrick knot, if you were to tighten that up. Very beautiful knot. But we're going to take a couple more steps to make the diamond knot, and this is what we use at the end of our soft shackles. So what you're going to do, I think you can start with either one, but I always start with my left, and you're going to go clockwise underneath this one and around this line that's at the bottom here. So underneath and around this one, and then up through that diamond that's in the middle of that carrick knot, up through that hole. Then with the right one, again, you're going to go clockwise and you're going to go around this line here and up through the hole. So around that line and up through that hole. I'll do that again because that wasn't very fluid. And then when you pull those tight, you'll probably have to just mess with some of these lines in the knot just to make them prettier. But that right there is a very beautiful diamond knot. Well, mine's not so beautiful, but very symmetrical stopper knot, the diamond knot for the end of our soft shackles. So one more time. We're going to make that position with our hands. We're going to lay one line through that, give yourself a couple feet, the other line a couple feet. You're going to take the right side and twist it over top of itself and then lay it over this line here. You're going to take the second line, bring it around underneath that one, through the hole, underneath itself, and then back up through that loop. And you'll have the carrick knot. I think some people actually call it the Celtic knot too, but the carrick knot, and what you want is that diamond there in the center. And you're going to take this line, wrap it around clockwise, and then up through that hole. And again, with the right side, you're going to wrap around clockwise and up through that hole. And again, you might have to pull some of these lines just to get them nice and symmetrical. And that is the diamond knot, very symmetrical. And you know you did it right because these are basically overlapping each other one after the other very consistently. And that's what's used at the end of a soft shackle to keep itself from pulling through.